Good morning. It is Saturday, July 29th at just after it's about 5:10 in the morning. My name is Larry Cedar and I'm back with you for another session on scanning, spelled just the way it sounds, SCANNING, as in scanning the body. Because what scanning is the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. The incremental release of muscular tension. Now, I was thinking about it before I started the session this morning. Scanning is a very powerful process. It can help you go to sleep. It can help you wake up. And we're starting very early this morning. It's, like I said, 5 in the morning. And sort of an experiment, sort of test, because I like to scan first thing when I wake up in the morning, because I find that over the course of the evening, I have become contracted, as is so often the case. With so many moments in my life, we tend to move towards contraction, and what scanning does is it allows you to do the opposite of contraction, which is expand. So we're going to start first thing in the morning, before we've done anything, and see what we can do about getting ourselves into a more expanded state. When you are more expanded, you feel freer, you feel more relaxed, you feel more capable of maneuvering through life without the resistance and trials and tribulations you experience in your mind and your body. You're just able to float through life more effortlessly. So first thing in the morning is a great way to start, because we tend to be slow getting started, and perhaps that is because over the course of the evening we have become contracted, closed off, we constricted. We became obsessed with perhaps dreams and thoughts which clouded our mind. Our body became stiff. So as you expand, you open up and relax. So let's get started. We always start scanning with the preliminary steps, which are deep breaths and stillness and silence. Remember, we're moving from a state of contraction into a state of expansion so that we can become centered or balanced. So if we are contracted, we use the breaths to begin that expansive process. Breaths are expansive by nature. Simply taking a deep breath brings you into a more expanded state, and we follow that by a certain amount of time still and silent, which is the opposite of doing and talking and thinking. So we're moving ourselves away from the contracted activities of speech, thought, and muscular constriction, and holding a breath into a more expanded state of deep breaths, muscular release, stillness, and quiet. So we'll start with 3 breaths, followed by 15 seconds of absolute stillness and silence. And take these breaths as you feel comfortable, but the deeper the better. The more you expand, the more you breathe deeply, the more you expand. So here we go, 3 deep breaths. First deep breath of the day. It's just that simple. Now 15 seconds of absolute stillness and silence. Don't move a muscle, but continue to breathe. Deep breath. Just take a note of any differences you feel from those simple steps. Deep breaths, stillness, and silence. Just check in. One thing you may feel is a slight pulsing sensation. As you take breaths, you oxygenate your body. Your blood vessels open up. You begin to wake up and come to life. So you might feel that. Now you might wonder, well, I've been lying in bed all night. Why do I need to be still and quiet? Well, in the middle of the night, you were tossing and turning and perhaps physically active in a way you weren't even aware of. So you become somewhat constrictive. Maybe something in your dreams encouraged you to tense up or close off out of fear or concern, or a sense that you needed to do something. So we're taking a moment to reset, come to a place of nothingness, an empty place, a clear-minded place. So that's the difference I felt. I already feel more awake, more alive, more still, more calm, more clear. We're going to expand on that expansion. We're going to take 5 deep breaths, followed by 30 seconds of absolute stillness and silence. 5 deep breaths, as deep as you can. This is your opportunity to really take charge of your state of being by moving from a contracted state into an expanded state. You have these tools available to you, so use them. 5 deep breaths, 30 seconds, absolute stillness and silence. Here we go. Last one, number 5. 30 seconds. Absolute stillness and silence, but continue to breathe. Deep breath. And just take a moment to register whatever changes you might feel. And let's take a moment to talk about resistance. Contraction is resistance. When you contract, you hold on. Squeeze your hands together, contraction, let go, expansion. So if at any point in this process you feel resistant, you feel like, I don't want to take a deep breath, I don't like the way that feels, why am I doing this, I'd rather go back to bed, you're almost like waking up a small child who's saying, I don't want to go to school. You have a natural resistance because a contracted place feels like a secure place. But you can build yourself your own prison through your contraction. And you may feel safe, but at the same time you've cut yourself off from breath. You've cut yourself off from the freedom that comes with clearing your mind and relaxing your muscles. So resistance is a natural state for a contracted person, but that's a good sign. If you feel resistance, that means you're up against your own contraction. So you're moving in the right direction. Resistance is natural. Move through it. We're going to do the next step, which is even more breaths, 7 deep breaths, followed by a full minute, 60 seconds of absolute stillness and silence. And again, you've begun to move the dial. You've begun moving away from contraction into an expanded state. You may feel different. You're waking up, in effect, but you're also opening up. So let's continue that. 7 deep breaths, 60 seconds, absolute stillness and silence. Here we go. And you may notice that it's easier to take these breaths now because you've expanded. Last one. 60 seconds, absolute stillness and silence. Don't move a muscle, but continue to breathe. Thirty more seconds. Deep breath. What's amazing for me, and this is an exploration for me, I don't claim to have this down, to really be a master of this. This is an exploration. I'm seeking to discover the possibilities that come with scanning, because I've been given enough insight into the technique and how it works through practice, through thousands of hours of practice, that I know it's good. I know there's advantages to it. I don't always completely understand it, how it works or why it works, but I do feel the changes when I practice it, and I'm astounded, and that's why I'm so committed to it. I'll probably be doing it, hopefully, for the rest of my life, and I will not completely understand it even then, but I will have confirmed its value. And that's why I do it, because every time I practice, it encourages me to practice more, and I see the benefits. And I share that with you and anyone else who might be interested, because I think it's somewhat of it's not a secret, but it is something that we're not completely aware of or don't understand how advantageous the technique is. So I like to remind people, and I like to remind myself through practice. But I'm always resistant. I never want to do it. And it makes me laugh now, because I see that my nature is to contract. And I see that I can change that. I can alter the state of my existence. And it's a wonderful feeling to know that whatever trouble you may be in mentally, physically, emotionally, you can help yourself. You can help yourself by expanding. As I said yesterday, generally speaking, almost 100% of the time, if I feel what you might just call bad, whatever that might be, physically uncomfortable, emotionally disturbed, mentally confused or obsessed, when I feel bad, when I'm unhappy, I find that scanning can take me out of that into a more open, relaxed, accepting, peaceful, calm, joyful place. And that's a wonderful thing. And it's an alternative to many of the choices we would normally take. Go on the internet, watch TV, have a drink, smoke a joint. There's a million things we do to quote unquote feel better. Some of them are not so healthy. Some of them aren't bad, and anything's okay if it helps you. But just the fact that you can naturally take yourself back to that place is very empowering. You don't feel as subject to the tosses and turnings of life. You feel like no matter what happens, no matter how you feel, I can bring myself out of that through scanning, through the incremental release of muscular tension. And before even that, the simple act of deep breaths and stillness and silence. Because all those things do is bring you from a contracted place to an expanded place to center. Okay, so let's start now on what I call the nuts and bolts of the technique, which is the incremental release of muscular tension. Squeeze your hands together, tight, tight, tight. And on my count, you're going to release 3, 2, 1, and release. Drop your hands, take a deep breath. Let's do that again. Squeeze your hands together. That's contraction, tight, tight, tight. So experience what that feels like. Contraction takes many, many forms. Mental contraction, physical contraction, emotional contraction. So you're building an awareness of what contraction feels like so you can identify it and then utilize scanning to move away from that. So now you're making the decision to contract, which is a good thing. That's strength. Sometimes you need to grip things, but it can restrict you if you become overly contracted. So on my count, you're going to release that. 3, 2, 1, and release. Drop your hands, take a deep breath. One more time. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. That's contraction. Feel that. That's contraction. That's emotional, physical, and mental contraction. That's symbolic of what happens to you when you move too far on the spectrum to one side. Contraction. But you have the ability to reverse that. 3, 2, 1, and release. Drop your hands, take a deep breath. So you've just expanded. So we're going to move through the body now, and we're going to expand or release muscular tension in the different areas of the body. We call it scanning because what we're doing is we're literally searching our body, scanning our body, looking for pockets of muscular tension. I'm always amazed when I think I'm the most relaxed and okay when I'm telling myself, you don't need to scan now. Don't bother scanning now. But I'll do it anyway to find how much tension I'm actually holding. It's always surprising to me. Even after all these years, I go, God, I had no idea that my back was so constricted or contracted, that my neck was so constricted, that my feet, that my pelvic region, that my face, I had no idea till I started to expand. So you're searching out these pockets of tension, which are the source of your sadness, unhappiness, discomfort, and you're letting them go. Start with zone 1, the face. On my count, let go of all the muscular tension in your face. 3, 2, 1, and release. So you feel that drooping? You say, why the face? It doesn't matter. You can start anywhere. What you are doing is sending a signal and getting better and better at sending a signal to your body to release muscular tension. You can start anywhere. Once you've started, the rest of your body, any part of your body is aware of what's going on in every other part of your body. We're all connected. So you start with the face, and that will translate ultimately into your entire body, but we're going to work our way through. Cycle through is what I call it. You'll go through these 8 zones as I've delineated them. Then you'll start again and do it again. And the reason you're doing that is you're knocking at the door. You're persistently, determinedly saying to your body, you are going to release. Now your body's resistant, so you have to do it in small increments and do it again and again and again until sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes, your body goes, oh, I see. And it lets go. It feels that it's safe. It feels that it can relax. And it feels the benefit. It starts to feel better. So that encourages you to keep going. The initial phase of scanning is always the most challenging because you're up against your own resistance. The phase, 3, 2, 1, and release. And you can see that change if you look in the mirror. 3, 2, 1, and release. So that's all. Just feel it and acknowledge it. I felt that. I felt that release. I did that. So I can continue to do that. Zone 2, the top of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, I'm amazed. I just woke up about a half an hour ago and I thought, oh, I've been sleeping. I'm probably relaxed. No, I woke up with a lot of tension in my body. It happens over the course of an evening. So you're opening yourself up for the day. Top of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. Great. You feel that? Back of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. And I snap as if I'm flipping a switch. I'm turning the power off to those muscles. It takes energy to contract or use a muscle. That's why exercise is, it's hard. So if you're carrying a lot of muscular tension around, you're unconsciously utilizing a lot of energy. As you begin to expand and release muscular tension, you will find you have a lot more energy in the moment and in the day because the energy you were using to, quote unquote, keep it together wasn't necessary. You can be completely relaxed and approach your day from that place. But we habitually hold. And so that's why we're so tired. So often we say, why am I so tired? Especially when you're tense or concerned about things. It's exhausting. So as you let go of muscular tension, you may feel a tingling, you may feel a throbbing. You're releasing that tension. Your body is allowed to function at its highest capacity because it is relaxed. Back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, you're going from a state of consciousness of what does that area feel like? Let's see if I can release some tension. 3, 2, 1, and release. You have that power, that control, and you're going to get better and better at it through practice. Zone 4 is the neck. 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a deep breath. Now I say take a deep breath because my body's telling me to take a deep breath. Use your own cues. Listen to your body. It's your body. You're getting to know how you move on this contraction expansion continuum. It's a study. You're studying and working with your own body. So when I say take a deep breath, I'm saying it because I feel like taking a deep breath. But you do it on your own, in your own way. I always say, what I'm feeling will probably be nothing like what you're feeling. You're your own individual, your own body. You have your own habits. You have your own techniques and so forth in terms of getting in touch with yourself. But we have the commonality of that we all contract and expand. So hopefully this resonates for you. Zone 4, the neck, 3, 2, 1, and release. Now let's do all of them. The face, 3, 2, 1, release. The top of the head, 3, 2, 1, let it go. The back of the head, 3, 2, 1, let it go. And the neck, 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a deep breath. So you see everything we're doing is moving the dial from a contracted state to an expanded state. And again, note, how am I feeling? What's different now from when I started 20 minutes ago? How different does it feel to be slightly expanded? And the smallest amount is fine. But note that difference. How does it feel? So that you can return to this place. You'll get more and more familiar with it. I know that territory. I know that terrain. I can go back there when you need to. Zone 5 is the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, let them drop. And again, 3, 2, 1, the shoulders, let them drop and release. Take a deep breath. You can move as slowly or as quickly as you want through these, as long as you experience that sense of, That's all you're doing. Moving from this to this, from this to this, from this to this. Letting go. Zone 5 is the shoulder. Did we do that? 1, 2, 3, neck. 5. Let the shoulders drop. 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, 3, 2, 1, let them drop and release. Take a deep breath. And the reason coffee works to quote unquote wake you up is it's a stimulus. It gets your blood pumping. It forces your blood vessels to expand. But I like to be the commander of my own body. I don't enjoy what I call a chemical expansion because I feel then dependent. And that's when you feel dependent, you feel weak. If you feel like you have the ability to control your own body, you feel powerful. And that makes you confident and happy. If I feel like I need something, I have to have something in order to do something, well, then I'm one step away from being able to just do it myself. So this practice of scanning empowers you because you say, I can control, I can move the dial myself. So you don't have to be afraid of feeling contracted or, as I say, bad. You go, okay, yeah, I feel bad, but I know what to do. I know what to do. I can take myself out of that state. And all the things I've done over the years, therapy, massage, Rolfing, chiropractic, all the things I've done over the years to make me feel better because, like a human being, I frequently felt bad and good and bad and good. They were all fine. They're all fine. We need to expand. We need help sometimes. But I began to have tremendous satisfaction from knowing I didn't need to jump in the car to go drive for an hour to get to the masseuse. I didn't need to jump in the car and drive a half an hour to get to the chiropractor. I didn't need to get to a bar to have a drink. I didn't need to find a joint to feel better. Whatever it was, I didn't need that thing. I could do it myself. And again, nothing wrong with those things. We all need something else sometimes. But just even knowing that on a small scale, I can also do it myself felt terrific, felt great. And we all get in trouble sometimes, mentally, physically, emotionally. But when you start to feel that way, if you can just go, yeah, this feels awful. I feel terrible, but I can fix it. I can fix it. I have a tool. I don't have to be afraid that I got to get somewhere or spend some money to fix that. I can just fix it. And that's a great feeling. Zone 6 is the chest, stomach, front of the waist, what I call the plate of armor. 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, just feel that. We all get a lot of tension in our chest. 3, 2, 1, and release. Let it go. Now you're scanning. You're scanning your body. You're finding areas of tension that you maybe weren't even aware existed. Zone 7 is very important. It's down the back, past the waist, and into the pelvis. The pelvis is fraught with tension. It's the area of sexuality and waste elimination, to embarrassing things to talk about, perhaps. Uncomfortable things because we fear loss of control in those areas. We have a lot of emotions tied up with them, a lot of physical desire tied up with them, a lot of physical need. So we frequently have a lot of tension in our pelvic region, just instinctively, without even being aware of it. So see what you can do about just letting that go. That sort of clenching, holding feeling that creeps in over the course of a day or a night. See if you can just let that go. See how it feels, the pelvis, 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, the pelvic region, 3, 2, 1, and release. 3, 2, 1, and release. And by focusing on these areas, you're tuning into where you're holding tension, where, again, as I said, you may not have even been aware you were holding it. So every time you release tension in your body, you give yourself more energy, because that's another area that you're not having to keep a grip on. You know, if you've ever had to hold something for a long time, it just gets exhausting. Even this exercise is designed to show you how holding, squeeze your hands together, while it's an indication of strength, which is great, can also be tiring and exhausting and distracting, and it can make you ultimately feel bad. But you have the power to 3, 2, 1, and release. So that's what we're doing, scanning the body, releasing pockets of muscular tension. One more time, the pelvis, 3, 2, 1, and release. If you begin to feel things in this process, that is totally appropriate and perfectly natural. When you are contracted, you are holding as a way to protect yourself. And one of the things we hold are our feelings, our emotions. We are afraid of feeling too much because we have maybe a lot going on. So we hold those emotions in. As you start to expand and release, you begin to experience those emotions which you've tucked away. If you've ever been in therapy and talked about something that happened to you 30 years ago and started to cry, you realize that feelings never go away. They're there and they're either released or they fester and stew inside your system. And you can hold a lot of feelings in your brain and body that are never released and never have been released. And it can change the course of your life. You can make decisions based on those feelings that you're working so hard to hide. So as you scan, you will possibly begin to feel things. You may want to cry. You may want to laugh. You may have feelings that you've buried so deep and you never intended to let go, that you've held through muscular tension, or thought you were holding through muscular tension. Perhaps you thought you buried them and they would never have to reveal themselves, but there they are. So if you start to feel things, and that includes physical feelings, tingling, throbbing, emotions, tears, that's perfectly natural to this expansive state. If you feel frightened and want to contract, that's natural. But I always say, feeling resistance is gold. Because if you feel resistance, if you hear yourself going, I don't want to do that, I don't want to go there, I don't want to let go, you've actually, like an explorer, discovered your pocket of tension that needs to be released. So don't take it as a sign to stop. Take it as a sign to keep going. Feelings won't hurt you. They may be disorienting and frightening because they're out of control. But ultimately, feelings are no trouble at all once they've been released. It's only when they're being held or emerging that they are scary. Once they are released, you feel purified. So one more time, the pelvis, 3, 2, 1, and release. Great. The last zone is down the legs, across the knees, and into the all-important feet, where we hold a lot of tension and muscular constraint and emotion. If you've ever had your feet touched unwittingly by someone just joking around with you, you might jump a mile because we hold a lot of tension there. The feet are also the location of a lot of nerve endings, as I understand it, through reflexology, which are connected to all the major organs of the body. So that's why a foot massage feels so good, because it rejuvenates your entire body. So if you can become practiced at releasing the tension in your feet, you will go a long way towards improving your health and state of well-being. So the feet, focus on the feet, 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, an area of great resistance, because the last place we want to feel vulnerable in is our feet, because we know how sensitive they are. So we have a protective mechanism of musculature contraction, which we feel protects us, and to a certain degree does. If someone's about to hit you and you brace for it, you will do better often than if you're just caught off guard. Although they say that people in car accidents who are drunk frequently do better than the people in the car they hit who weren't drunk, because they're completely relaxed. So it's hard to say. The feet, 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, 3, 2, 1, focus on the feet and release. Now you may begin to notice, as you get more practiced at scanning, that when you focus mentally on an area of your body, you may begin to feel that area throb. It's an amazing thing. And I've been to health practitioners, in this particular case, something called network chiropractic, where the technique was literally to touch an area very lightly until it began to throb. Because when you focus your attention on an area of your body gets the message that it needs to heal, and it sends blood to that area, because blood circulates oxygen and nutrients, and you'll feel a throbbing. So as you focus on different parts of your body in this process, all the zones I went through, you may begin to feel throbbing. That's excellent. That means you're opening up your blood vessels, and your body is being allowed to do what it does best, which is heal itself. We are sent blood by the heart to give the nutrients and oxygen that the various parts of our body need to survive, to heal. So throbbing is an excellent sign that you are expanding. So we've been through all the 8 zones. Again, these sessions I moved through quickly. It's been over half an hour now, because I want to review the technique. In your own time, in your own practice, take a lot of time. Take as much time as you like. Being in a hurry is a contractive process. You're trying to get it done. An expansive state of being is one where there is no hurry. There's no deadlines. There's no time. There just is a state of being. So move yourself into that slow, quiet, still, open place. And I almost feel like apologizing sometimes because these sessions move so quickly, because that's counterintuitive to what this process is about. But again, this is a study session, you might say, where I just review the technique. And and hopefully that's helpful. That's it. That's been about a half an hour. If you came in late and missed the session, I will repost it on my Facebook page. I believe you're allowed to download these sessions on Facebook. So download them and listen to them whenever you feel like. This is not necessarily, this can be a scanning session for you, but I encourage you to do it on your own, to get to know your own voice, your own sense of self, how your own body works, without me talking in your head. It's really important is that you own this, that you take this and you say, I'm scanning. I'm not scanning with anybody. I don't need to go somewhere to scan. I know how to do this myself. That's really important. So listen as a tool to encourage you, but as soon as you can let these sessions go, let them go and do it yourself. Create your own class, your own session. The whole idea about this is that you don't need anything else or anybody else, is that you can do it yourself. You're empowering yourself with this technique. So come to them, these sessions, as a guide, and then set them aside. There's a story I always tell about a man was looking for the moon, and he was looking for the moon. He couldn't find the moon, and somebody came up to him and said, are you having a, is there a problem, sir? What's going on? He said, I'm trying to find the moon. I can't find the moon. And the guy says, oh, look, there it is. And he points. He goes, there's the moon. And the other man looks up and says, oh, thank you so much. I've been searching for the moon. I couldn't find the moon. You really helped me. Thank you so much. And the guy says, oh, it's my pleasure. Yeah, there it is. And the guy goes, yeah, I see it. He goes, yeah, there it is. He goes, yeah, I see it. He goes, yeah, there it is. And the guy goes, hang on a second. I see the moon. You can put your hand down. I see the moon. I don't need the guide anymore. I see it. So I'm helping you see the moon, but once you've seen it, it's yours. Visit it as often as you like. You know where it is now. And that's it. Good morning, everybody. I know it's very early, and thanks for coming. Again, scanning is as good for waking up as it is for going to sleep. So again, this will be posted on the scanning page, and then, on the Facebook page, and then on the scanning page as well. Have yourselves a great day. Thank you for visiting, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.